about Sammy Davis Jr.? What do you know about him?
Sammy was a good guy. He was Sammy, he gambled degenerate. He had a bad gambling problem, but he was really. I like Sammy a lot. Sammy was a very, very talented guy, boy. You know, and he came in an era when black people were just coming out and being able to be exposed in the entertainment world. You know, he came at a very tough time when, you know, but being in the Rat Pack and stuff like that enhanced his exposure, and people got to see just how talented he was. You know.
Do you know that Deep Throat story with Sammy Davis Jr.?
I thought you said this was a family show.
It is. Well, we can do it. What I say to Big Ben yet. What do you know, Jack? Come on.
Oh, no. You just leave that one alone.
Okay, but the guy passed out a polygraph. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Sammy was a fun guy.
Well, now what about this stuff with Sammy and the Church of Satan? What the hell was going on there?
You know, everybody, again, like I said, you know, people embellish things so. I mean, I felt bad for his poor wife, Altavi. She was just such a nice woman. And, you know, he was in so much hock when he died. You know,
right, yeah, right. Right.
Boy, he was a gambling degenerate. He gambled a lot, boy. Just, you know, it was sad. You know, he was a really nice man. I liked Sammy a lot.
Hey,
to be honest with you.
Real quick, I'm sorry. But back to Dean Martin. His uncle was Abe Vigoda.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what about Abe Vigoda? Was he hooked up?
Oh. Do you know the guy who was the most connected guy? I'll tell you, the guy who was so well protected and so loved was Jimmy Durante.
Oh, really?
My father loved Jimmy Durante. Jimmy Durante could not do anything wrong, and never did, actually. He never abused it. But he never, ever wanted for anything. He was another very talented man.
That's funny.
But he was loved by the guys in New York. Really loved him.
Hey, what about guys like Don Rickles too, man? People don't realize how hooked up he was, right?
Well, like I said to you, the entertainment industry, you know, all those clubs, you know, you had all those guys like, you know, like, what's his name? The other guy out of the Rat Pack, Joey Bishop.
Right.
You know, he was from Philadelphia, but they all had to play the Catskills. They had to play certain clubs because they were all mob owned. So they were places that they had to play that people said, well, geez, you guys are big stars. Why would you go back there and play? Because they had no choice. You know, they helped keep places alive because they had live entertainment, same as Vegas. They all signed up to go to Vegas because they were put contracts in front of them, you know.
Hey, it's just so funny how so many of these guys, you see them on, like Lou Costello or Grandpa Al Lewis, like they seem like such, lovable characters, joke-like characters on TV. And meanwhile, you know, you meet them in person, they're pretty serious guys. Anyway, we got a little commercial break coming up here. We got Jack O'Halloran. Okay. We got to have you back, Jack. This is great stuff. I'm really enjoying this. We'll have you back just to talk about the Sammy Davis Jr. story. Jack O'Halloran. His book is called Family Legacy. Okay. And you could find it on his website called FamilyLegacyTheNovel.com. And coming up shortly, they're going to be doing a whole tour. We're back with the Superman tour. They're going to reunite all the actors from Superman. And they're going to do those autograph signings and stuff like that, events. And you'll be able to find that schedule for that on FamilyLegacyTheNovel.com. Okay, we're going to be right back with more of Jack O'Halloran. I'm going to be asking him about the Kennedy assassination. I don't think Jack's going to confess to anything, but we'll get back. We'll talk to him after this when we get back right after this.
And now a word from our sponsors. Don't forget, this show is brought to you by PSCoco.com. Phoebe Sod is an independent curator with the Cocoa Exchange. The Cocoa Exchange is formerly known as Dove Chocolate Discoveries, and they make the finest silky smooth chocolate because the products start with the best cocoa beans, which are tested for quality and flavor by expert technicians. The Cocoa Exchange offers not just premium chocolates, but anything from sauces and spices to brownie and cake mixes, and even coffee and martini mixes. If you wish to treat yourself or someone you love to a sweet and tasty gift, then the Cocoa Exchange is the brand for you. So you go to pscoco.com, you click on the Shop Now button. You can see all their beautiful chocolates. You can order it right now tonight. It could be in your mailbox in a couple of days. Or if you want to get into the chocolate business, you want to be a chocolatier just like Phoebe Sod, click the Contact Us button and you can learn how to get your own website, go into the cocoa chocolate business and sell chocolate and make a little bit of money there. I want to welcome our newest sponsor, SubashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring research network, customer care, press release, content writing and distribution, and much, much more. Now you can get a hold of Subash Technosis by email at info@subashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subashtechnosis.com and their Skype is ANUSHASUBASH. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. We also do all kinds of different services for you. An online dating service investigation. It's called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites. If you think your ex-husband or something is addicted to prescription medication, or involved in an extreme online pornography addiction, but we can produce a report for you that you can use in court. Adoption investigations. If you want to locate your birth parents or your birth child you gave away for adoption, we can do adoption investigations for you. Asset searches for you. Locate bank accounts, hidden assets, hidden properties, hidden income, all different kinds of services in the asset search investigation. Email tracing. If you need to locate or identify somebody from just an email address, we can do an email trace investigation for you, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. You can have your ad played here at oppermanreport.com. Every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report members section. In the members section, you can find all kinds of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. It's as cheap as $6 a month, $20 a quarter, or $75 for a year. If you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, I'll set you up with a little special deal there where you get a discount if you PayPal me directly, and you even get a copy of my book. I want to thank Sean Duff at strawmanmusic.com. He's an excellent musician. And I also want to thank William Ramsey, who helps us to produce the show and book guests, who's an excellent author at William Ramsey Investigates on YouTube.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with the famous Jack O'Halloran. I don't want to know the notorious Jack O'Halloran. I don't know how do I want to describe you. The great Jack O'Halloran, boxer, actor, JFK insider. Can't thank enough, Jack, for doing the show with me today, because I know I called you up, you've forgotten about it, and you just sprung right into action. So thank you so much. Now, what can you tell us about the JFK assassination?
Well, let's start right, bare facts, simplicity. If you were going to say what one person was responsible for John Kennedy's death, it was his father, okay? Because his father made a lot of enemies with a lot of people. And you have to go back into the history of Joe Kennedy all the way back to the 20s. And you have to understand just how much happened in a period of time, and you'd say, Jack Kennedy, if you looked at Jack Kennedy specifically, he was not going to live out his term. He was dying of 4 different diseases. They used to shoot him up every day.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story. After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story. After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Addison disease was eating his back up. He was in a lot of pain, and his father would have rather seen him die the way he died than to see him die with an illness and mark the family. And somebody would say, well, geez, that's rather cold, man. Why would you say that? But then look at what he did to his daughter. His daughter suffered from ADD before doctors knew how to control it. And rather than have her act out at some function or something, he lobotomized her and left her sit in an institution for 70 years before she died. A very
underreported story too about how
no one ever talks about it. And he was, and when you sit down and you look at all the pieces, and you go back, you got to go back to the 1920s when Joe Kennedy was he was a bootlegger, okay, but he was a very, very smart guy. He was the youngest head of a president of a bank in the history of the country. He was married to Rose Fitzgerald, whose father, Honey Fitzgerald, was a very powerful man in Boston. The family were gangsters from Europe, from Ireland. So when he had a warehouse out of Canada during Prohibition, and Rose Fitzgerald's father brought all the liquor over from Scotland. He had the rights to it all. So they brought it into the Boston Harbor, took it up into Canada, and brought it down into America in bootlegging. And he had a warehouse with a guy that owned Fleischmann's liquor from Newark, New Jersey. And there was a load of booze that was supposed to come down that belonged to the Purple Gang, and Joe Kennedy hijacked it. And the old man from the Purple Gang said, "You're a dead man." So he ran back to his father-in-law and begged for help. And his father-in-law said, "I cannot help you. There's only one guy in this country that can help you, and he's in Chicago." So he went to Chicago to see the very first Don in Chicago, and he sat down with him, and the guy said, "You know what, kid? You're a real good earner. You go home. We'll take care of the Purple Gang, but here's the deal. You belong to us now." And he hated that being under thumb. So when you look back in his history, the only building that he ever put money into was the Mercantile Building in downtown Chicago, because they made him build it. They sent him to Hollywood in the 20s. And he, if you look under the paperwork, he was the creator of RKO Studio. He put together the theaters and the first distribution deal that was ever put together at a string of theaters. He was introduced to Randolph Hearst. He had dalliances with so many ladies out here in Hollywood. He loved Hollywood. But in 26, he did something that, there was a place called the Hamilton Club in Illinois, Chicago, that was like the New York Athletic Club politically in the country. And everybody hung out at the Hamilton Club. So they asked him to do something in 26. He did what they call a short sell.
Well, let me ask you a question really quick. The guy who owned the New York Athletic Club in New York was killed by the mob, right?
Well, he got out of line.
What was his name? Do you remember? Calvo?
What?
Calvo?
That sounds familiar.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So, Joe Kennedy, he did some things. He stole $5 million from Pathé Newsreel, broad daylight. He got away with it. And they said, that's very good. Now here's what we really want you to do. And he put together what was called a